Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here so early. Full room at 7:30 in the morning on a Tuesday like this says a lot about the people in Salem, how much they care about their community, how much they care about the police department and safety in general. And looking around this room, I see city leaders, public safety leaders, community members, residents, who all play a role in that work of keeping Salem safe. And as many of you know, last week I announced that after over 34 years in law enforcement, I'll be retiring in May, and that's the last 5 years serving here as your chief of police. That upcoming transition has me reflecting on where we've been as a department and where our community is headed next. And what I see is a community that's faced challenges together, adapted together, and made real progress in building a safer, stronger Salem. So this morning I'd like to talk about three things: where we are today, the work that's still ahead of us, and a brief reflection on all that we've accomplished together in these past 5 years. Let's start with the most important question that anyone asks their police department or their police chief: is our community getting safer? And the data from 2025 gives us some encouraging news for sure. Overall crime in Salem last year declined 17%. Violent crime dropped 20%. That's the most significant single-year drop we've had in 15 years in our community. Thank you. And within those violent crime category, aggravated assaults fell significantly, something we've been directly focused on as a department. And homicides dropped from 9 the year before to just 4 last year. So significant progress for sure. And property crime continued its long-term downward trend with fewer thefts, burglaries, and stolen vehicles across the city. Notably, 226 fewer people had their cars stolen last year. And I think it's important to humanize those numbers and personalize those numbers because losing a vehicle can create immense hardship on families in our community. And that happened 226 fewer times. Our detectives are doing exceptional work solving all of these cases, and once again, they maintained a 100% case clearance rate for our homicides, far above the national average of 61%. They solved property crimes at a rate very well above the national average also. Crime reduction numbers represent real progress for sure. And for many of us in this room, they represent something even more important: the ability to live, work, and raise families in a safer Salem. Now, that did not happen by accident. It's the result of focused work by dedicated professionals, the men and women of the Salem Police Department. Every bit of progress I'm talking about this morning started and starts with them. Their smart, data-driven approach is making a safer and stronger Salem. Our Community Violence Reduction Initiative is one such approach, bringing together law enforcement, prosecutors, community partners to focus on individuals and our locations in our community associated with violence, most associated with violence. And just last week, that partnership was on full display again when the U.S. Marshal Service served arrest warrants here in Salem. When firearms and drug evidence were discovered at the location, our detectives responded immediately, obtained a search warrant, and seized additional weapons and narcotics. That kind of coordinated work between agencies is exactly how a strong criminal justice system keeps dangerous individuals off of our streets. Together, we focus our limited resources where they make the greatest impact. And the results show up in real cases. Case after case, I get to see them all as the chief. Just a few months ago, our detectives, working with federal partners once again, arrested a prolific violent offender while seizing multiple firearms, including fully automatic rifles, along with large quantities of methamphetamine, fentanyl, and cocaine. Removing individuals like that prevents future violence in our community. Arrests like these are not rare either. They happen frequently. Just last week, officers responded to a robbery involving a 15-year-old victim in Northeast Salem. And through quick patrol work and investigative follow-up, the juvenile suspect was arrested the same day, and detectives recovered a loaded, short-barreled rifle. Another example of how focused investigative work helps prevent future violence. Now, CVRI, our Community Violence Reduction Initiative, is not all about arresting people either. Community partners are playing a critical role in prevention efforts, including Salem Leadership Foundation, Salem Health, Mano a Mano, and the Willamette Health Council. And importantly, the Community Business and Education Leaders, or CBEL. They stepped up when city funding failed and are doing real work backed by real dollars to support this important initiative. This is how strong partnerships and focused policing continue to build a safer and stronger Salem. Policing should never be about what the police are doing to the community, but instead about what we are doing with our community. We also know safety is not just about crime, it's also about people feeling safe in their neighborhoods and while moving through their community, especially on our roadways. In 2024, you may remember Salem experienced a heartbreaking record. We had 22 fatal traffic crashes in Salem, the most ever. Many of those tragedies involved impaired driving or dangerous behavior behind the wheel. So we made traffic safety a priority in 2025. Last year, our officers significantly increased traffic enforcement and education efforts. Officers focused on the areas and the violations most associated with serious crashes. That's a data-driven strategy, and they issued nearly 19,000 citations and warnings, which was a 65% increase from the year before. They just worked much harder and much more focused. The result, traffic fatalities in Salem dropped by 50%. They were cut in half, from 22 deaths down to 11. That represents lives saved. The work your police department does literally saves lives. Please keep that in mind if you ever get pulled over. We're saving lives while we're doing our work. Focusing police resources where they matter most results in exactly what our community expects, a safer and stronger Salem. But we also know the danger remains, and even one fatality is too many. Impaired driving continues to be one of the leading contributors to serious crashes, which is why DUI enforcement remains a major focus moving forward for the Salem Police Department. Last year alone, Salem police officers arrested more than 400 drivers for DUI. That's about 1.25 arrests every single day in our community. Many impaired drivers still go undetected. That's why we are pursuing grant funding to add an additional dedicated DUI enforcement officer. Just one focused resource like that can significantly expand our ability to detect impaired drivers and prevent the kinds of crashes that devastate families and communities. Public safety is also more than just crime numbers and the focused enforcement that I've talked about. It's about general livability. It's about public spaces and how people experience their city day in and day out. Last year, that understanding led to the development of the Safe, Clean, and Healthy Salem initiative, a coordinated city effort to improve conditions in our downtown core and other high-impact areas. Through targeted enforcement, through targeted overtime assignments, the initiative increased police presence in areas experiencing higher calls, crime, and community concerns. This proactive approach helps prevent and interrupt crime while restoring proactive capacity, especially downtown. We need to press back into that proactive, preventative, and effective policing model. Another important component of this effort is the recent expansion of our Homeless Services Team, or HST. HST officers work closely with outreach providers and city partners to address disorder while keeping public spaces safe and accessible at the same time. The team was originally created in 2022 as just a small unit of 2 officers, 2 highly skilled officers, but the need quickly outpaced their capacity. Through the Safe, Clean, and Healthy Salem initiative, supported by a generous donation from our business community and the full, strong backing of our city council, thank you, counselors, that team just expanded from 2 officers to 4. Now that is a step in the right direction. Thank you. The team can now provide coverage 7 days a week and ensure a consistent presence. Their work is not traditional policing, it's problem solving, it's relationship building, and it's connecting people experiencing homelessness with services and support. It's exactly the sort of efficient communication and coordination we all expect from government and nonprofit agencies when facing complex public health and safety concerns and issues. At the same time, it means keeping everyone safe and maintaining some accountability. When serious crime occurs, especially violence, our officers take enforcement action. Compassion and accountability are not opposing ideas. They are complementary responsibilities in law enforcement. And the impact has already been significant just in the past 2 months. Previously, the two-officer team conducted about 1,000 campsite visits a year. The expanded team has already conducted more than 500 contacts in just the first 2 months of the year, dramatically increasing responsiveness and presence in areas experiencing the greatest challenges. That work is already helping improve conditions in some of our most impacted areas, including Marion Square Park and Wallace Marine Park. And it's also a great example of what happens when city leadership, police, businesses, community partners all work together toward comprehensive, effective solutions. Together, in that way, we are building a safer and stronger Salem. 5 years went by in the blink of an eye. It passed very quickly. It seems like the older I get, the faster time passes. I don't know if that's true for anyone else in the audience. When I stepped into this role, the department, like so many other agencies across the country, was facing some significant challenges. We were navigating a global pandemic, confrontational protests, rising violence, staffing challenges, budget shortfalls, and some real uncertainty about the future of policing in America. But through it all, the men and women of the Salem Police Department persevered with grit, professionalism, and a deep sense of duty to the community that we serve. We adapted, we innovated, we stayed focused on a mission. And they did it during one of the most difficult periods in the history of modern policing. Let's be clear about that. It hasn't been normal. While challenges remain, I could not be more proud of that team for that reason. And while our challenges remain, we have strengthened this department in so many meaningful ways that I want to highlight a bit today as well. We implemented our body-worn camera program for the first time in the department's history, improving transparency, reducing misconduct complaints, and shielding the department from civil liability, which saves the city money. We expanded transparency and communication with our community, launching a public transparency portal, posting policies online for the first time ever for the world to see, and very recently creating a full-time public information officer position to be even more open and transparent. We strengthened our analytical capacity to deploy resources more effectively. We integrated nationally recognized ICAT de-escalation training into our department's culture and training programs. We modernized how we manage large demonstrations and protests, updating our training, our tactics, and our equipment. We established standardized multi-agency active shooter training exercises in partnership with our school district. We developed new risk assessment protocols and processes for planned arrests so that the right teams and the right tactics are deployed in the right ways in the highest risk situations, including, when appropriate, the increased use of our highly skilled and trained SWAT team. At the same time, we have reduced police pursuits and police use of force, while increasing arrests and lowering misconduct complaints, showing that effective policing and accountability go hand in hand. So yes, to reiterate that, we are arresting more people while using less force. We expanded advanced investigative technologies, partnering, for example, with ATF and HIDA to link shootings through a national ballistic database. And we expanded automated license plate readers with state grant funding to help solve cases faster. We implemented an evidence-based framework for strengthening police community trust, supported by federal grant funding, which is another first for Salem Police Department. We have a class coming up in April, actually, out at Chemeketa. If anybody's interested in attending one of those procedural justice classes, reach out to Deputy Chief Debbie Aguilar, who's here with us in the audience today. These are just a few examples of the accomplishments that we've achieved as a department. The reality is that for 5 years, regardless of the chaos or uncertainty around them, our staff has never stopped pursuing excellence, continually seeking ways to improve how we serve this community and strengthen public trust. Those accomplishments belong to the people who made them happen. Over the past 5 years, I've had the privilege of serving alongside the more than 250 men and women of the Salem Police Department, sworn and professional staff alike, who show up every day to serve this community with professionalism, courage, and compassion. For this, my final Breakfast with the Chief speech, I could recognize so many different partners. But the people who have mattered most to me and the people responsible for everything we've accomplished are the members of this department. Every success I've talked about this morning does belong to them. If you are a member of the Salem Police Department, sworn and non-sworn alike, would you please stand so that I and we can recognize you? Thank you. Thank you. It's been one of the greatest honors of my career to serve as your Chief of Police and represent the work you do for this community every single day. Perhaps the most important accomplishment, I'm not done with accomplishments quite yet, perhaps the most important accomplishment they've made to meet core service demands is hiring new police officers at record levels. More than 20 new officers each year for 4 consecutive years, helping us climb out of a 26 vacancy hole and rebuild the department's core capacity. Salem, don't get me wrong, Salem still has the lowest police staffing ratio among Oregon's 8 largest cities. There's some information about that on your tables, actually. But we have stabilized patrol staffing and restored our ability to maintain baseline essential services. Because of that record hiring, Salem Police Department also looks very different today than it did 5 years ago. Across the ranks, we have experienced a significant generational transition. Our executive leadership team has been completely rebuilt with a new assistant chief and deputy chiefs. Excuse me. Many of our lieutenants and sergeants are new leaders stepping into expanded responsibilities. And more than half of our patrol officers, the officers you see out handling 911 calls, more than half of them now have less than 5 years on the job. So this is a new department. It's full of new energy, new ideas, and a renewed commitment to service here in Salem, all focused on helping to build a safer and stronger Salem. Just as importantly, we established a clear strategic direction for the organization. Together with our staff and our community partners, we developed the department's first comprehensive strategic plan in well over 2 decades. We are now in the middle of the second iteration of that 3-year planning cycle, focused on 3 priorities: safety, trust, and excellence. That plan and those priorities remain our North Star, guiding the work of this department every day and ensuring that the progress we've made together over the last several years will continue into the future. And if we continue working together with the same focus and commitment, that progress will continue to build something everyone wants, a safer and stronger Salem. You know, public safety is never the work of a single person or agency. It's the product of partnerships and collaboration. Partnerships between police and the community members we serve, between city leaders and frontline professionals who respond when people need help, between outreach providers, businesses, neighborhood groups, and residents who all want the same thing: a safe, thriving city for themselves and their families. Over the past 5 years, I've had the privilege of watching those partnerships in action. Many of you in this room have been part of that, so I want to say thank you. And because of that collaboration, Salem is moving in the right direction. We've got momentum. Crime is down. Traffic fatalities have dropped. New initiatives are improving livability in our neighborhoods, bringing renewed hope and optimism. Yes, we've got the momentum now, but when it comes to public safety, one thing I've learned over the past 34 years is that progress requires constant attention. That momentum we've built together is hard-earned, and it can be easily lost if we become complacent. Public safety cannot rely on hope alone. It requires commitment from police, community leaders, and from residents who all care about building a safer and stronger Salem. So as I prepare to hand over the leadership of this department to the next generation, I do so with great confidence in its continued momentum. confidence in the men and women of the Salem Police Department, confidence in the leaders who will guide this organization forward, and confidence in a community that cares deeply about Salem's success and one another. Thank you for the partnership. Thank you for the trust. Only by working together can we ensure continued progress toward our common goal, a safer and stronger Salem. Thank you. Thank you. Now let's hear about some specialized equipment our officers rely upon to do their work safely and effectively, and how you might help with some of that.
In 2019, a UTV was put into service thanks to the Salem Police Foundation. The UTV created a mechanism to get people out of obscure areas when a medical emergency or arrest needed to take place. It has also served in other areas at the police department by helping at community events downtown and at parks. Connecting with people in remote park settings that may need services is an essential function of the vehicle, and officers utilize it when emergency situations arise in our urban parks and other inaccessible areas. With the expansion of the Homeless Services Team and the demand by patrol for the use of the vehicle in these settings, there is clearly a need for additional UTVs. What do these three items have in common? Safety. Every day, police officers go to work not knowing what the day will bring. But what is known is serious events will happen at some point, and our officers need to have the equipment to keep themselves and the community safe. Mass casualty trauma kits. While officers carry basic individual trauma equipment with them, mass casualty trauma kits are designed for multiple casualties should the event arise. These kits can be placed into patrol cars, so any officer would immediately have access to multiple life-saving devices upon arrival to the scene. Ballistic shields. Designed to provide an extra layer of protection when dealing with armed individuals, these shields can help keep officers safe when responding to emergency events, such as last September when Salem officers responded to a reported burglary, and as they arrived, a subject fired shots towards the responding officers. One round hit the ballistic shield held by an officer, which, if not for the shield, would have struck the officer. Heavy ballistic vest for SWAT. It's no secret that SWAT deals with extremely dangerous situations, and having current up-to-date ballistic vests is a must. While the team currently has vests, new team members that have rotated into the assignment are needing properly sized vests, and some team members have vests that are at the end of their usable life. SWAT members rely on these for a safe mission. While each of these items have individual functions, they all are needed to be able to respond appropriately. While we can't control events that may happen in our city, we can control how prepared our officers are, and these items will help with the goal of continued safety in our community.